in honor of Heritage Excellence, Indigenous Spirit, and Mother Earth. I also want to thank Professor Ron Westray, the Oscar Peterson Chair of Jazz in the Faculty of Music at York University, for his mentorship and guidance to consequential backbeat in my lived experience and in my research on elements of rhythm and aspects of life. Impact matters. Impact is a moment. How we prepare for and respond to the moment is what matters. Now, over the next few minutes, I hope to engage your attention and imagination as we prepare for a moment of rhythm and our own consequential backbeat. Now, as we proceed on our pathways of life, we encounter crossroads. But before we can cross the path or engage in the rhythm of the moment, we have to be listening to ourselves. And this is the purpose of pause. In pause, which is one of the first elements of rhythm, we are able to breathe or meditate or pray or go on Facebook. It's an opportunity to ground and locate ourselves in the rhythm of the moment. We have to be able to listen and hear what is happening in and around us at all times. In the healing arts, pulse is located first. In pulse, the story of our wellness of our bodies is transported in sound and vibration. And so pulse is primal. It's beyond gender, class, and heritage. It is a product of 4.5 billion years of existence, 7 billion voices speaking 6,000 languages. And at every instance of every day, someone is grinding something good. The grinder. We're grinding acorn, cassava, guacamole, hummus, chili, maize, millet, right? We all pulse. And once we're connected to the pulse of the moment, we're able to determine a pace at which to proceed. Because at every instance of every day, someone is herding the flock. Goats, cattle, sheep, chickens, ducks. So once we are in pulse and in pace, we're able to cross the road and continue on the pathways of our life. Rhythm is a moment. And so as we now in flow with the rhythm of this particular moment, we can prepare for our own experience of pulse and pace. University is a universal community. Now, what is community? Community is a word that is used very often. There's many meanings, there's many manifestations, but essentially the idea of community is two people or more that come together and agree on the same thing or experience consensus. But what is consensus and how does that work? The key component of consensus is the ability to listen, to be able to hear what everyone is saying, to be able to let go of our egos and our connection to what we think is going on and be grounded in the moment, which is a capacity of engaging our indigenous spirit, because that is the practice that has been happening since the evolution of humankind. What is required there is leadership. Leadership. Leadership is identified by the ability to listen, and is demonstrated in clear and effective expression. When we are able to lead ourselves, we can be present to the purpose of community. As a percussion artist, I am often driving the rhythm or driving the musical experience. We can say being the heartbeat of the musical experience. The heart is the primal pulse, right? We all pulse. We all pulse. So we are all connected, which allows us to be able to collaborate. The universal community is also an environment where we can collaborate. Study groups, classes, tutorials, and those kinds of experience allow us to practice that process, but it's not necessarily easy. It's hard to listen. There's different languages. That is a conflict, different ideas and different strategies about how to proceed. But we need to be able to listen, and that is where pulse and pace give us an opportunity to do that. It's another resource or tool to be able to connect to the rhythm of the moment. We share the same resources. In community, often people, especially communities outside of North America, families and communities share from the same bowl. It is not uncommon for people in an environment or an area to get together and cook and put things into the same bowl and actually eat from the same bowl. We might find that a little bit challenging in the West. However, this is what allows community to function in an effective manner. In the universal community at York, for example, we share the same classes, we share the same rooms, we walk the same halls, we actually share the same space, and so we are engaging in that same kind of experience, but are we connected to that particular process? This is the value of pause. Once again, we're able to stop and just breathe and just connect to the moment. Listen to what's going on. There's stress, there's work, there's a cacophonous life that we have. But if we take that pause, we can connect to the pulse of the moment, then we can determine our own pace to contribute to that. But it takes practice. It takes practice to stand at attention, to hone that sound and that rhythm in our bodies to be able to hear what is happening around us and to contribute and participate in a way that's meaningful and positive and harmonious. In environmental studies, which is my faculty, we are taught that the addition of one organism to an environment can impact the entire ecosystem. Right? One organism. A person is an organism, so each of us impacts the environments that we occupy just by our presence. But are we having fun? It's Niski that said, "Those who do not hear the music think the dancer mad." Now, I dance and I play the stick, so I can imagine what people might think. However, if you're not standing out in some way, then you are just one in a million. One in a million. And this is where pulse comes in again. As a resource, as a tool, as an idea, which is why I thought of this particular process to be able to share with you in this day, because it's just another way of accessing resources to facilitate transitioning, crossing roads, roadblocks that we find along our way, and we may not be able to transition in an effective manner at all times, but it's about efficacy and productivity. But with joy, we're able to find like-minded people, like-minded students, to facilitate our study groups, for example, to share experiences, to learn and grow, if we really connected to that which we want to do or present to our purpose. We travel the world, we have new experiences, we learn how to eat from the same bowl, we learn how to grind something good, we learn how to herd the flock, we learn how to do these things that are simple and elemental, but they contribute to the well-being of those around us in the universal community at York, right? If we look around the spaces that we occupy, we see people that reflect this community that is universal. And so how do we share our experience and our energy? How do we contribute in a way that's positive and meaningful? And it's never too young to start. It's never too young to start because pulse is omnipresent, it's always happening, it's available, and if you're even able to, on a windy day like today, just pause for a moment to hear the rustle of the leaves in the wind is to hear ourselves. To hear the slow drip in the sink, I call it the slow drip of annoyance in the sink. That means that we're able to listen to ourselves. So the question becomes, how are you going to make an impact? And what matters to you? Now, if I've effectively told you about the process of rhythm, pulse, pace, and pause, then what I wanted to try and do is engage in a little moment of rhythm so we can have our own sense of impact. On this side of the room, you will be the grinding something good. You're grinding something good, so I want you to say grinding something good. And this will be the herding the flock side, all right? So you are herding the flock. So together we are going to cultivate a sense of community, all right? So the pace will be grinding something good. Grinding something good. Okay. Herding the flock. Herding the flock. Grinding something good. Herding the flock. Herding the flock.
Grinding something good.
Okay.
Herding the flock. Herding the flock. Grinding something good.
Okay.
Herding the flock.
Now I'm going to play.
Herding the flock.
Keep it.
Grinding something good. Herding the flock. Herding the flock. Grinding something good. Herding the flock. Herding the flock. Grinding something good. Herding the flock. Herding the flock. Grinding something good. Herding the flock. Herding the flock.
Okay. Now, I forgot to tell you about being a band and being a musician. And the purpose is to be able to listen, all right? So when you're participating, you're performing at a level where you're hearing your own voice, you're hearing the voice of those around you, and you're hearing the music. And even though I didn't tell you that, it actually sounded that way. It was cohesive. So that's what a process of music and band and community and engaging in the rhythm is really all about. Now, so I want to thank you for that. And that's what planting a seed is about, right? So technically speaking, we have planted a seed that has gone into Mother Earth and has already given roots, and we're able to connect to the pulse of this moment, the rhythm of TEDx. I believe it's a alumni of York University who recently left some words for us as a legacy. They are, let us be loving, hopeful, and optimistic. Jack Layton. So my question is, what impact do you want to make, and how are you going to matter? Because impact is a moment. How we prepare for and respond to the moment is what matters. Thank you.